And welcome back to another episode of Pixels and Pints. My name's Tom. I'm coming to you on a lovely long weekend Saturday. Many years of Catholic education have taught me that right now Jesus is sitting in the lobby waiting for a respawn. His kill to death ratio is 0 to 1. Yep. That's a good way to start. Yep. So with me as usual
is Dan. Just by insulting everybody.
Hi.
And Pete.
Howdy.
And we're talking to you today about a bunch of, I think it's mainly Aussie beers. We've got some movie trailer content, game trailer content, bit of news, bit of reviews, bit of everything. It's what we like to do.
Bit of everything.
Bit of everything.
Should we start with Dan reviewing his water?
Either of you hungover today?
That's my secret, Captain. I'm never hungover.
No, not really. Bit. No, not really. I got pretty pissed last night, but I woke up fine a bit late this morning.
Fair enough.
No.
Why do you ask, Dan?
Oh, no, I was just wondering. I mean, Saturday, second day into a long weekend. It's usually form for it, so I don't know. Just wondering.
Ask me tomorrow morning.
Mm-hmm. I'm afraid if I stop drinking, the cumulative hangover will catch up with me and kill me.
All right. So, Dan, you're on waters this episode.
I'm on waters.
Okay. Tom, do you want to review yours?
You can go, Pete.
Okay.
You're halfway into it.
Well, after some bad news, Kasha? It was a Kasha. I didn't... Yep.
In VA.
So, yeah, voluntary administration. So I thought I would support them by buying a couple of their beers. So this is Akasha Brewing's Canada Bay XPA. Now, I have to admit that I might have cracked one of these last night, along with the next Akasha beer that I'll be trying later. And I chose this one first because it has a much softer flavor profile that would get wiped away by the IPA. So this is a 4.2% starting beer. Light spirited citrus and stone fruit flavors. Pretty much exactly what it is. Quite bitter. Dry for a finish. It's fucking tasty, to be honest, for a starter beer. It's kind of a hot afternoon beer. It's not too in your face. It's not too juicy and acidic. Yeah.
It's a bit warm out there. I was walking around before and it's toasty.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to give that a 4. The kick out of the gate.
Excellent.
I do like that XPA.
Mr. Tomness. I am drinking, and you're going to know exactly why I picked up this beer as soon as I tell you the name of it. It is the Slow Lane Brewing Jagged Little Pills, which is a great album by Alanis Morissette. I was like, yep, 100% I'm grabbing that. They're German Pilsner. And it is a true to form German Pilsner. They use Pilsner malt, Hallertau, Mittelfrüh hops, and then German lager yeast. And it's got a slight little haze to it coming through there. Oh, look, my camera's so much lower now. This is great. Well done, cardboard box. And, yeah, it's got that nice spready taste to it. It's still nice and light enough. And, yeah, like you said, it's one of those enjoyable on a – you definitely could smash a few of these on a hot day, but it's nice on a nice warm afternoon to just sip and savor and enjoy. And, yeah, I'm also going to give that a 4. That is a great little starter.
Nice.
Kick-off proceedings.
What was the ABV on it, please?
Oh, I was going to type that in, sorry. 5%.
5%. Yeah. That's good. Should we kick off with some news?
We interrupt this broadcast with some breaking news from the front.
Let's kick off with some news.
Blitz the news.
All right.
Well, I'm a little disappointed with this first little point.
Well, you can read it if you want because it is yours.
Okay.
It does compare to you.
So Larian, this came out a little while ago. They were talking about it, but I think they've now confirmed it. Larian Studios have confirmed they're moving on from Baldur's Gate. So the CEO, Sven Vinke? I don't know.
Vinke?
Sven Vinke says there's no current plans to work on expansion content, and the studio isn't working towards a BG4. Now, there's no chance that they would have been working on a BG4 already. I think that was kind of anyone who was asking that question is a bit silly, but it is a bit disappointing they're not looking at expansion content.
But also, or just have plans to do a PG.
Yeah, there's no plans to do it.
We're out.
Yeah. Which doesn't mean Wizards of the Coast won't take it to somebody else, which would be, I mean, they've got the framework for it now. Yeah, but I mean, massive success. It's far too soon, yeah, but it doesn't mean in the future Wizards of the Coast won't take it to somebody else.
4 year cycle for a game like that.
Yeah,
But,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
it's
and
not
that's
that
if
soon
you
to take it to someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 12 months to kind of bed out or get rid of all the bugs. And then you really want to kind of drop some content for it to keep it alive if you want to play that kind of cycle.
I did like that they did say in that they're not going to stop support though for BG3. So if bugs do come up, they'll be like, we'll fix them. We're not leaving our baby behind, which is good.
And there was something suspicious I should have looked it up before this. I didn't actually see that in the news, in the way that it was worded, which made it sound like they were moving on to a dwarf IP after this. I'll while you guys go on with the news, I'll just have a quick look, see if I can
The
find
article
anything
I
on-
saw kind of talked about how the way he worded it sounded like he was putting a dog to sleep, but then getting a new dog. Like the way he talked about it. And it was just like, what the fuck, man?
So strangely specific.
Yeah. He like even gave the dog like a name, like this mythical dog that they were putting to bed. And I was just like, oh, okay. You need to talk about something, man. Like it's an open forum. Well, moving on with some game studio stuff. Embracer they hit the high, they peaked early, they Icarused, and now the wax is falling off their wings, and they're shedding weight where they can. So Take-Two/2K Studios have just acquired Gearbox and all its IPs, mainly Borderlands, from them for around $480 million US, which is apparently roughly half of what Embracer paid for it originally. So well done on the fire sale. Good savings there. And a few weeks ago, Saber Interactive announced they were leaving the Embracer Group. They are being bought by a company called Beacon Interactive, which interestingly is founded by the original Saber Interactive founder. So he's formed a new company to buy his own back. And they sold that for about $247 million US. They have stated they will still continue working on the 40K Space Marines 2 game, the recently announced Jurassic Park Survival. There was another one, the John Carpenter Toxic Commando. We looked at the trailer a while ago. And they had taken over the Knights of the Old Republic remake from Aspire, which is another one of Embracer's studios. And they have said that they didn't say, they kind of alluded to the fact that they might keep working on that with companies within the Embracer Group as a bit collaborative still. There's a lot more to that sale than I can be bothered reading about now if you want to go look it up, but about what Embracer get to keep getting revenue from going forward, all this other kind of stuff. It gets a bit business technical, and let's be honest, I zoned out. It's not a surprise to anyone here.
Our listeners probably don't give a shit either. I think the overall point, though, is there's a lot of movement in the industry. There's fuck tons of layoffs.
Yeah.
There's buying and selling of these companies. None of it really spells anything good for us as gamers because the best games come out of studios.
Lost a $2 billion deal or something recently that folded, and that's why they've had to.
Yeah, but like you want stability in your studios if they're going to turn out good quality content.
Well, their whole mode for buying all those studios up was just ridiculous. I mean, they were buying it up before they'd even secured that Saudi Arabian $2 billion deal, which just fell through. And I forget the exact wording of it. Once again, we're great with our research here, but it was something like the Saudi Arabians pulled out because they had no confidence in that it actually would make money in the long run. It's like, yeah, of course. Like, how many fucking
so
studios
it's just arrogant
did you?
Businesses.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was just an arrogant, very highly arrogant business decision there. I mean, in the end, it might work out better for us if these guys can now split off again into their own smaller studios and not be confined into pigeonholed into making a certain type of game. We might get some,
or turning out content just to spin $1 to make back, which is the bigger concern.
Kind of what I meant. Yeah, it's rather than being pushed into mobile gaming or into live service games,
microtransactions.
Yeah, they might get a new lease on life and move the industry into the next era. Potentially, I guess that's the golden golden lining.
Yeah.
Interesting you bring up live service titles, Dan, because Warner Brothers are doubling down on them, which is one of the strangest things I can think of given their recent releases. their president of gaming has said, we're doubling down on games as an area where we think there is a lot more growth opportunity that we can tap into with the IP that we have. So bleed the teat dry is essentially what that says. This is despite admitting that their latest game, which was Suicide Squad, was a disappointment. But in the same sentence, he praised the Hogwarts Legacy as a huge success.
Which was a sub-studio. Key, what's it called? Keyhole Studios or something like that?
I think they were the producer-distributor on it. So, yeah. So that's where they're coming from. They're just saying that AAA games are a bit too volatile, but live service is where it's at because we made a failure of one. Let's go, guys.
And not only that, did they release it in the same month that the other, quadruple A game came out, live service game in Skull and Bones, which both absolutely flopped. The Joker content for Suicide Squad dropped yesterday. Yeah, like it's the first DLC is dropped.
Yeah,
and it hasn't even made a ripple in the pond of the
well, apparently
gaming
it's pissed
news.
off gamers. Apparently, it's really pissed off gamers, the content. So, I'm going to talk
it looks pretty horrible.
I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later on, right at the end when I talk about Helldrivers too.
Okay.
But yeah, this seasonal fucking microtransaction bullshit. Just sick of dealing with it.
GameRanks covered it in about 20 seconds on a video I watched this morning. There's a stop motion kind of a still framed intro to this Joker DLC for Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Then you have to play through a whole nother boss fight against Brainiac, which he said is just the Green Lantern fight again. And then you unlock the Joker. It has a cutscene with the Suicide Squad, and then it's just the back to the standard grind of the game. Once you've already done what you've done before to unlock a character that.
What a joke!
So didn't even make a ripple, and I'd love to see their Steam numbers now, but it'd be super low, I would imagine.
Any of their console or Steam numbers would be, I'm sure, pretty low. It's just Sony, on the other hand, have appear to be doing the opposite with this. They've cancelled a bunch of multiplayer or live action service kind of games. Last of Us Online, one for the Insomniac Spider-Man that was in development had got leaked and appeared online where you played as multiple Spider-Man, and they were just like, no, let's not do that, which I think is a great idea. But Ben Studios, who made Days Gone, which we all loved, are developing another game, and they are actively searching for someone to develop the live action side of that service. So who knows if they're going to dip another toe in, see if it goes all right, given the success of Helldrivers, which, again, if you listen to the end, Pete will tell us about. This one I really like, Pete. No Man's Sky has dropped a new update. So we were talking about this recently off chat with the Age of Conan game, and then game. It's 2016. No Man's Sky came out. They've just dropped a new patch is not the right word, but a kind of free DLC, I guess.
It's content
update.
patch.
Yeah. Where they've made the spaceships inside procedurally generated, because before they were all the same. You can develop your own ships. So, every single sci-fi ship ever made is going to be created in that and shown on YouTube in the next, couple of weeks after it launches. And they've redone all the guilds and stuff. So they're just giving it love again, which is great.
You have to give them credit where credit's due.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's clearly a passion project for the development team to be generating new content and evolving the game for this many years afterwards with no cost to consumers. And
they've gone out on a limb now with this Light No Fires. Light No Fires, is that the name of it? Their new,
that's the same name. Yeah.
Their new survival co-op
Light No
game.
Fire.
Light No Fire, is what it's called. They're reaching for the sky again. Is that the right term? Yeah. Reaching for the clouds, reaching for the sky, whatever.
Aiming for the moon.
Aiming for the moon, yeah. Everything they've said about it with their first trailer drop, it was like, fuck, is this just going to be No Man's Sky all over again? Are you going to release an absolute dud of a game, but then really claw your way
slow
back?
burn it over 6 years or something? Yeah.
I think with these sort of things that they're still doing with No Man's Sky, they've now built that goodwill back, that even if it is a dud and people go, no, this is a piece of shit, they'll go, look, you've seen what we've done with No Man's Sky. Just stick with us. We'll work with you, the community, with everything that we've said we want to do. We'll implement everything, but it's going to take time. And much of a travesty that No Man's Sky was to start with. It's fuck that. I don't even. It's got to be something like 20 major updates they've done by now. It's fucking huge.
Oh, easily.
Orbital is the 27th major update. Well, there you go. Released on the 27th, so it is available now.
Yeah,
I can't help but think that they're retrospectively adding content to stay modern and up to date with Star Citizen. Like the idea of the ability to build your own ships is something that Star Citizen actually did reasonably well. Star Citizen, by the way, still hasn't fixed the major game-breaking bugs that made me leave the game, like the cargo transfer fucking things and all the rest of it. I whinged about months and months and months ago when I bought the Xbox for the game.
It's not called
Starfield.
Sorry,
yeah.
Starfield.
Doesn't matter.
My bad.
It's contextually the same. It's Star Citizen still hasn't come out anyway, so it's whatever you say. It's relevant to both of them.
You can pay $64,000 for Star Citizen's content pack, but I can't help but think that this is just a response to kind of and throw it in their face. We'll cherry pick the good ideas that we haven't yet implemented out of Starfield and do it better because it's built on top of a stable foundation, whereas Starfield just isn't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then lastly, last little things, some good news. Screen Australia has announced they're giving $1.6 million of funding to 27 Aussie games and creators.
Is that each?
No, if only. This is to share amongst
not
the
a
27.
lot of lolly.
For a bunch of very small Australian game studios, that'd be a massive lifeline.
I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's bad. It just doesn't seem like a lot.
Well, maybe once they sell those French subs, they can give them some more. Get some on the resale market. So, yeah, I think it's a great move. Most of those games that they list on the 27 Aussie games and creators, most of them have something in production already. I didn't want to read out the whole entire list, but some of them, they're all quite small projects, but, they're going to be fun little indie games. And I think it's a great move. There's been a lot of layoffs, and just to they've talked about how they want
$60,000, Tom.
It's better than a kick in the nuts. If someone came to you with $60,000, you'd be
true,
happy.
but you couldn't even buy the Star Citizen content pack for a game that doesn't exist.
And that's probably a good thing. Maybe that's like the little star that do not spend this on Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Just before we go to the last little bit of news, going back to the Larian comment, I found it before, forgot to mention it. Somebody zoned in on a word that the guy said. They said their Larian Studios is dreaming out a quote very big RPG that dwarfs them all, that will dwarf them all. And somebody honed in on that dwarf comment and said, "Oh, is this what they're doing?" It seems like a bit of a stretch to me, but so be it.
Was he wearing a foil hat?
yeah, it's kind of that, isn't it? I'm just going to pick one word out of the sentence and make my whole conspiracy theory around it.
Maybe they're doing a space game that's focusing on dwarf stars. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yes.
Anyway, the last thing, this is, I think, really interesting. The PS Plus games that are coming out, they're all relatively new, and it's a sure sign that they just have not done well. Immortals of Avium, which someone wrote down as think Wolfenstein but with wizards, and I was like, that's a great description of that. So that only came out August last year. That is relatively new, so that's not good when it's the free game. Minecraft Legends. If you have kids and want to play this, it's nothing like Minecraft. You don't do any of the real building that you do in Minecraft. I
think it's
an action strategy.
Yeah.
Action strategy game. And then Skull the Hero Slayer is a 2D roguelike platformer, which flips the classic hero's tale on its head. You play as the skeleton trying to defend your castle against the heroes, which is, I think, a pretty creative way to do that. But and they're the games they'll be dropping first week of April. Look, I'll probably try that Immortals game because it's Doom but with magic, and once it's free, and I'll be like, thank you very much. See ya.
Get your pew hands out.
Yes, mate. But yeah, that's kind of it for the news.
Cool. Do you want to?
I'm not up to my second beer yet.
No, that's fine. Neither am I.
The fastest we've ever done the news.
There wasn't much, and I was literally, for some of them, I was like, "Do you think I can get away with calling this news?" Yeah, let's go. Let's throw it in.
That and I've been bitching at Tom about keeping us down to time, so
yep,
probably my fault.
No, not at all.
I blame me. Should we list through some March releases? I think you've got some really good lists of what's been released in terms of content this month. We might just cherry pick a few to talk about.
Probably should have dated them. That was a bit silly.
That's okay.
Yeah, I've broken this down into 3 sections. So games at the movies, so that's cinema releases, and then streaming. With the streaming, I did make sure to pick things that were new to streaming, not just Oppenheimer's on binge now. Yeah, it's like, that's fine. Go find it yourself when you're scrolling through. So this is all the stuff that I could find that I thought we'd be interested in over the month of March, given that it's the 30th of March today, so we're pretty much at the end of it. But this is all stuff you can, if you're looking for something new, you can go get stuck into it now. So yeah, games, we had Dragon's Dogma 2, a massive RPG.
I want to check that out.
Yeah.
It seems really interesting. I
played like the first level of Dragon's Dogma when I think it was PS3. And I was like, one of those ones I was like, oh, this is really cool. I could get stuck into this. And then it was just before the PS4 came out. And I was like, well, I need a new console, so see you later.
I just love that. I love the peons mechanic, or the peasants mechanic. I think it's called peons. Pawns. Where it takes a static clone of other players' characters and spawns them into your world to become your followers. And you can kind of
It's other players' pawns, not their player characters.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's because you create your own player character and then you create your own pawn, and then you recruit 2 other pawns. And I think your pawn then goes on to basically out into the ether for other people to recruit as well.
Interesting.
Yeah,
it seems like a cool idea, and you can re-specialize. So if you get a cloned pawn from someone else and you don't quite like their attributes or setup, then you can evolve it over time. You can also send them away to go on adventures, and they come back with more experience, which I think is cool.
That's fun.
Like that whole concept just stood out to me as original.
I think the versatility that they've got actually in the game as well, like just watching the creativity, like you can climb on all the big monsters, you can knock down bridges. It feels like an action Baldur's Gate. It's all third person action adventure, not turn based combat. So that's what it feels. Looking at how it plays, that's how it feels to me. Is there's just so many options and combination of abilities and spells and everything together. It gives me that real use your creativity to get past things.
And immerse yourself. So there's no quest markers in the game. You have to listen, like the pawns guide you through the quests. So you actually have to engage.
And one I think it was Game Ranks I was watching again, they were talking about there's a vendor within the world that will replicate items for you. So if you take a quest where you get given, their example was you take an early quest where you get given a certain key to go and complete the quest. And then when you complete the quest, you have to give the key back. But if you take that key to the item replicator guy, you clone the key, you give the key back, and then you've got a copy of that for like
your purposes,
fuckery later on in the game. And same was with an item where you were approached by a secondary party to give, I think it was like a gem or something. And you could get the gem identically cloned, and you could basically finish both sides of that quest line at once, kind of thing. Yeah. And there seems to be a whole bunch of just options like that, just creativity. Like you said, Pete, get immersed in the world, understand how things work in the world, and then use it to make your own fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, there's one we can check out if you want to sink, I'm sure, a fair amount of hours into it as well.
Cool.
Alone in the Dark. I know Dan's talked about that one before. We've had Rise of the Ronins come out, and the graphics have not gotten any better.
No, it's getting mixed reviews, that one.
It is, yeah. Outcast New Beginning, which was kind of like it's a sequel to an older game that came out a few years ago, but now they've added some like jetpack flight mechanisms. I watched the trailer for it. Looked interesting enough.
Okay.
Going around and looking after camps and all that kind of stuff. The Star Wars Battlefront collection of the originals has released, and it's been a buggy fucking mess. And there's a lot of complaints going around over that, which is a bit unfortunate. And then South Park Snow Day, so another game in the South Park RPG series, also getting some mixed reviews between very short and again just a bit of a buggy mess.
Yeah,
feels a bit rushed.
I think 3 out of those 6 games, from what I've heard, have all suffered from frame rate issues on console as well. So I think
that's great. Awesome. That's what you want.
Dragon's Dogma dropped a reasonable patch today, apparently, locking it at 30 frames a second on console. But no word on the PC yet, as far as I've heard.
At the movies, feel like going to get some popcorn and a drink. You can go. Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire has released. You got Dan's most anticipated movie of 24, Godzilla vs. Kong: New Empire.
God, that just every time I see
Kong.
Every time I see that trailer, I'm just like, how many more modern day shit tropes can you jam into just this trailer? Like the swirly purple colors and the blue colors, like they've just picked whatever seems to be trending at the moment. It's like your neon lights back there, Pete. They're like,
hey,
they're
they're my gamer girl lights.
They just
gotta eat.
I just don't get why. I'm sure they talk about some reason as to why fucking Godzilla glows purple now, and
apparently they do, and why Kong has the Infinity Gauntlet on. The Transformers Infinity Gauntlet, because it looks like it's made out of truck parts. But yeah,
it reminded me more of the Hulkbuster Iron Man suit fist that wrapped around Hulk. Anyway,
but it did feel very, and I know Ed mentioned it a while ago when the first trailer dropped. It did feel very modern Marvel-esque in the way it does, and that's what I get from the trailers. It just feels.
Well, it's like I said, it's not Kong and Godzilla and Kong as a disaster, like a natural disaster. It's them as a hero being.
Yeah. Kung Fu Panda 4. Did Jack Black come for it?
He did. Jack Black was recently in Sydney promoting that. He went to my fucking pub and I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Oh no, that sucks.
I would have shared a Guinness with that man in a heartbeat.
Oh, that would have been so good.
Yes, but no, he is back for it. He's got most of the cast are back for it. That's just it's an easy, fun one for them.
Yeah.
And then yes, the next installment in the Blood and Honey series before we get their cinematic universe. This one adds
Piglet Giblets coming to a cinema near you.
Is there a trailer for this yet?
Yeah. Well, it's out.
Oh, it's out. Is
cinemas
it?
Now? Yeah. So the first one had Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. This one has added the owl and Tigger.
I just clicked on I put it into Google and clicked on the video section, and the first video up is got Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 preview, and the guy's just like slumped on his hand in the thumbnail.
Yep.
Fuck.
Hilarious. And then if you're at home, you're on the couch, you want something new to watch. So there's Spaceman, which is on Netflix, which Pete's going to talk about a bit later. The Roadhouse.
Now if you want.
We'll go into that after. I think I'm ready to crack my second beer.
Yeah.
Cool. Roadhouse remake, new version of Roadhouse, which is on Amazon Prime. Ricky Stenicki, which is also on Amazon Prime, looks very entertaining. I'll definitely watch that one. Love a bit of John Cena. The Completely Made Up Adventures of Dick Turpin on Apple TV. So that's got Noel Fielding in it. It looks very silly, very funny.
Yeah, it looked interesting.
Bit of British humour there. X-Men 97 is out on Disney Plus, and The Gentleman, which is from the
Guy Ritchie
old mate. That's it. Thank you. It's the series following on from the movie he made with McConaughey.
Is that out?
Yeah,
that is out.
Louise has watched the whole thing. She loved it. She said it was very, very funny and very much in the vein of how.
I've seen that they released a clip of like the first episode, and it's the will reading part, and I was laughing watching that. I was like, oh, cool. I'm definitely gonna get into that one. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, are you ready for your second beer, Pete? You can go first.
I haven't even poured it, mate.
Okay, well, why don't you start talking about
Spaceman.
Spaceman.
Look, I'll be really quick. Have you guys seen it, or do you intend to see it?
Intend to see it.
Okay,
Haven't seen it.
I'll keep it spoiler free. But can I tell you what I thought of it without
Yes.
spoilers? Okay, I found it disappointing.
That's a challenge for you.
I found it disappointing. To me, the pacing was as boring as Ad Astrum. I think it was Ad Astrum. Ad Astrum was a long ass movie with, I think it was Brad Pitt, that got all the way to the end and just seemed not to have anything. Ad Astra, sorry, just didn't really seem to say anything. He was having a weird time-based or recording-based relationship with his dad. To me, Spaceman was kind of similar. It was slow. It didn't really have a climax, and it just went batshit crazy right at the end. It kind of reminded me of Event Horizon, where you've got this, not Event Horizon, sorry, Contact, where you have a really grounded, science-based movie all the way through and pondering, the existence of extraterrestrials, and then right at the end, she gets in the fucking ship and has an LSD trip for the final sequence. It was kind of like that. To me, it was just disappointing.
Yeah, right.
That's the end of my story.
Okay.
Spoiler free.
Well, I guess we can't really go. Yeah,
Yep.
I guess
can't
I'll.
say
Yeah,
much more.
yeah, that's fair. I was going to
just-
yeah.
Spoiler
It
and
was just
almost
like a fever
opinion
dream.
free as well.
I thought it sucked. How's that for an opinion?
Whoa.
Yeah, it was just like a fever dream. It was just some shit. Yeah. Anyway, do you want to talk about your next beer, mate? While I scull this.
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, Dan disappeared.
Bye, Dan. Oh, maybe he's going to get some more water from the
He felt
well.
left out.
He's gone to draw a bucket of water.
Oh, fuck.
I am drinking the Freshwater Brewing Co. Stay Salty Watermelon Sour, which is a lovely printed can, and it's on that kind of tactile paper.
Textured.
Yeah. It is clear and light as day. Like, almost see me through that if it wasn't for a little bit of the chill on the glass. And look, it's salty, zingy watermelon sour. Absolutely, this is a fantastic summer beer. And
ABV?
It comes in at 4.2.
Okay.
Even in a 440ml can, you'd easily get through a 4-pack of that and just enjoy your sunny day.
Nice.
100% take that to the beach and
Hi, Dan.
enjoy the crap out of it. He's back. He's drawn his water from the well. Yeah, that's got a really nice light watermelon flavor to it, but a really the sourness of it is accentuated by the saltiness of it. Very, very well made. I'm really enjoying this. I would, I don't like 35-degree days, but I would like this on a 35-degree day.
I was definitely a penguin in a past life, so I'm with you there, mate.
Yeah. Cool. This is fantastic. I'm going to give that a 4.5.
Yeah, wowzers.
Yeah. That's
Nice.
delicious. Oh, just moreish. Give it to me more. What do you got?
Is it so when you talk about salt balanced against sweetness or sourness, is it almost like a what's the word I'm thinking of that no one can pronounce?
Goza.
Thank you. A goza?
Oh, it is. Yes, sorry.
Okay.
It says sour on the front, but they definitely say goza on the
But
back.
it is a goza base. Okay.
Well, it counters the goza's salt, they say. So yeah. No, definitely it's. But yeah, the lightness of that watermelon is great, but it's still there. It's very much there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm drinking Akasha Brewing Hopsmith IPA, which is a 6.8% fucking smashable as fuck IPA. And really interesting coming out of the XPA, because like I said before, the XPA is quite soft and even tempered in terms of personality. It doesn't yell at you. The Hopsmith, I don't know. I almost want to say I get a lot of yeast out of it. It's crystal clear. It's quite an amber color rather than a light pale. It's got a sweet finish and almost a Belgian-y ester character about it. It's really fucking nice, actually. I like that because I'm not a big fan of the really super juicy, punch you in the face with hops expression. citrus, pine, and fruit notes backed by an earthy, bitter finish that makes the heavens sing. Well, it's certainly making me sing. I'm impressed. And like I said, just a little bit of sweetness to it at the end, which is somewhat surprising in an IPA. I'm going to give that a 4.25. That's a lovely beer.
I miss the old cans. Hate that design. Hate that branding.
Yeah, what happened to the lines? I miss the lines.
No, I just miss the colours. It's just I don't like the pastels.
Yeah.
Never
so it's kind of Illuminati a little bit, isn't it? With the,
yes. yes.
Anyway.
It's massive Illuminati was the whole rebrand, I thought.
I just fucking hope they come out of VA. Should we get on to some we don't do trailers anymore, but here's 16 trailers.
It's just talking about stuff that we've kept an eye on, or new stuff that's taking our eye. We're not going to go frame by frame in these like we used to, but
yeah, no, I was taking the piss out of myself. It's all good.
Okay. Dune Awakening. There's 4 game trailers.
Looks good.
This is the only one that showed any gameplay, so
Yeah.
that was nice. That's definitely why I threw it in there.
Fuck, I hope they get it right, because I would love to play a Dune game after the 2 fantastic movies. Sorry, Loki's currently attacking Kara, who's sleeping peacefully. He's such an asshole.
Yeah, I think when it first was announced, it sounded a bit more survivally base building but that showed a bit of that in terms of like you have to go out and hunt for elements and cut them out of rocks and then build your little base and stuff.
It's a cool idea if they pull it off.
Yeah, definitely. I think the only thing that worried me about that trailer was the way they made it out to be your character's suddenly this like godlike hero.
You're going to be Muad'Dib because everyone's got to be a Jedi in a Jedi game, right?
Yeah.
What is that not a reasonable comparison? If you're going to play a Dune game, then you want to be the all-powerful fucking...
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they'll give you any of that ability. I mean, they said you can pick your house and there'll be... It sounds like they're trying to get a certain level of community involvement. They'll never reach the levels that EVE Online is, but it feels like they're trying to get people to build the houses and have the communities run the houses and infiltrate the bases.
The corporations.
I don't know whether how much of that will be they'll have to script and have NPCs occupying bases and things like that, or whether there really is going to be a certain level of spy infiltration, which is obviously heavily implied in the books.
Would they have, do you reckon, like kind of what Elder Scrolls Online did, where you could be the Emperor of Tamriel? If you could be heads of houses and stuff.
Yeah,
be the Emperor. Yeah,
I think they have talked about a hierarchy structure similar to that. From what I've seen, they haven't gone too far into that, but they've definitely said about being whatever class you pick, you can in some way be aspired to infiltrate the other houses and the other factions and things like that. So
I got to tell you, a EVE Online style Dune universe would be quite interesting. It's not something I'd probably throw myself at, but it would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on how much player base they get and committed player base as well. So you can't be building these things if you've only got a low number of people and everyone wants to play the same class and not actually run a faction.
Yep.
So, but I agree. I think the base building and that looks pretty cool. They did a really good job on base building in Conan. So it'd be really interesting to see how they expand on everything they built there and the years of knowledge and game engines and systems that they have there and converting that over. So I'll play it. I mean, I'm not fussed on the MMO side of it, but I'll give it a go. See what happens.
Yeah.
Yes, because there are a lot of dicks in the online universes of games like this who, like, you'll spend forever building your base and someone will just come and
fuck it up.
There's your nuke. See you later.
and that's the thing too. If you're only a casual player, you get outdone so fast with those sort of things. So
always the challenge for builders of MMOs.
Yeah. I think we can blitz through these ones. No, I'm excited by this one. 1943 Rise of Hydra. Okay.
just the Marvel games just don't. Maybe it's because the Marvel movies don't capture my imagination anymore. But it's like, oh look, it's Captain America being a wanker and telling everyone how he's the fucking Highlander and there can be no other heroes around him. Yawn.
Okay, for those who haven't seen it, because I'd like to explain the trailer first before we get Pete's take on it. It is
could be only one.
It is 1943 in France. Cap is on the ground, obviously, being in World War II and the World War II hero. You got Black Panther running around doing his own thing, and each of them have a kind of sidekick with them. But as Dan said in chat, it's written, produced by Amy Hennig. Of the Uncharted game. So there's we haven't seen any gameplay, and that's the thing I would like to see before I jump, fully on board with this idea.
Well, some of that was perfect. Apparently in-game rendered cutscenes, which which is all possible these days with Unreal 5.
It's an Unreal, yeah, exactly.
It doesn't give us any information on.
I think actually most of these games we are looking at, the trailers, the story trailers we saw, all set at the start, in-game engine using Unreal 5.
Yeah.
So
because that's the state of the art at the moment, right? Yeah.
So we haven't seen any gameplay for it. Definitely one to keep an eye on. If it's, I don't know if it's going to go down the Uncharted route, or will you play as all 4 characters? Will you play as the 2 sidekicks, and you'll have Cap and Black Panther running through and doing their thing on the side, or what they're going to do? I'm sure they'll have But look, I'm hoping. I'm just like a decent story. So that's exactly what I want.
Sorry, just to interrupt the flow. No, just to interrupt the flow. So the next trailer we're about to talk about is Nobody Wants to Die. I just typed Nobody Wants to Die into the search bar of YouTube, and it's popped up with, "You're not alone. If you or someone you know is having a hard time, talk to somebody today." And it's linked me to Lifeline Australia. Like, I mean, good. Yeah, well done, YouTube. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, Nobody Wants to Die looks like a fucking... Like, I'm
cyberpunk noir.
Yeah, like it just had so many Blade Runner meets the Fifth Element vibes. I love that tiered city look. There's obviously a lot of time control going on. I'm keen for this one.
I mean, it's promising a lot. Let's see if it can deliver.
Yeah. Yep.
It's always the way these days, right?
Yeah.
Wait and
Build
see.
the hype.
Wait and see. It's, once again, no gameplay. Got nothing to judge it on. And it doesn't even give you an inkling in what sort of gameplay it is. Like, is it going to be an action adventure? Is it going to be a...
True.
Is it... Yeah.
True. I got the impression...
Isometric top-down.
Yeah, it could... it could well be.
Fallout Tactics.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got the impression it was a detective noir set in a Blade Runner kind of universe with some time control.
Yeah, but that's your aesthetic. That doesn't give you any idea of what
doesn't
your
tell you the
gameplay
game
is.
mechanics.
No,
you're absolutely right.
It could be.
Do we write it down on a coaster here now? I would like third-person perspective and cover shooting mechanics. Thank you very much. That's my prediction for it.
Sell me a pedal for a Time Crisis ripoff.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's pretty cool. That'd be good. And lastly, Sinking City 2. So Dan's played the first one, and it's always one that I keep seeing. And I'm like, oh, Dan raved about that. I should play it one day.
It looked like World War One. Is it set in World War One?
So, Dan's played the first one. So
yeah, that's why
it would be roughly around that time. I couldn't tell you exactly what year, but 20s or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The studio has said this is moving to more of a survival horror game as opposed to the original was more detective based.
Yeah, I mean there was a lot of survival horror. I mean the combat was definitely the letdown of it. It was pretty clunky combat third person shooting system. So it will be interesting to see how they advance on what they did. I think once again, said it before, the bones of what they've got there is really good to build on. I'm glad they've been able to get a second one. And the underwater sequence stuff in that was fucking terrifying too. It made you feel so claustrophobic.
The trailer is kind of similar. I mean, to me, I got vibes from there's a Warhammer fantasy race that are kind of based on skinks. I think they're actually called the skinks, and that's the aesthetic that I got from the underwater creatures in the second trailer. So,
well, they're
interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, it leans really heavily into the hybrid people in Lovecraft, so Dagon and things like that it's the real focus of the human side of it. Cthulhu's the main backdrop of it, but the Dagon side of it plays a big thing, which is the fishy lizard people.
The fishy lizard.
Give us some Hermaeus Mora. What a guy! What a great
And
guy.
they are called
eyes.
the Skinks.
So yeah, there's 4 little games coming out. Movies. Beetlejuice is back.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah,
all the original cast.
Yeah,
like I would have
Michael Keaton looks
panned
great.
it. He does. I would have panned it if they had replaced the actors. I'm so glad they've got the original cast back.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a short 1 minute 20 little teaser.
It's just a reveal trailer.
Basically, yeah. And good old I feel a bit bad for Jenna Ortega's kind of getting quickly typecast into have to be in all the remakes of all these classic kind of horror. Well, not horror, but that kind of fun family horror kind of vibes. Yep. But no, it does look very good. And the next one, Alien Romulus, looks right back to the roots of what Alien was.
Yeah.
Watch this? No?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Oh, you're agreeing with me? Okay.
Yeah.
That was more like sure, Tom. You can your drink.
So it's the director from Don't Breathe. Mm-hmm. Is it Don't Breathe?
Yeah.
Which I think it was an excellent movie in terms of building tension. So if they can, that's what made the original movie as horrifying and successful as it was. Ridley Scott's obviously a part of it. There was another person. It was a producer. I can't remember. No, to me, this looks good, promising. After so many fucking letdown movies in the Alien universe, it'd be good if we can get back to the roots and do it without a gosh darn reboot.
I know nothing on this. I saw the trailer. I didn't look into any of the backstory. I didn't even realize it was coming out, or I didn't even realize they were making it. I'd never heard of it before the trailer dropped about 4 or 5 days ago. I thought the trailer looked fine. I was a bit confused about what the whole thing was. I originally thought it was a show coming to streaming, and then realized it was a cinema release. So yeah, it'll be. I know nothing about the timeline of when it's meant to be set or anything like that. So if it's just a direct continue on at some stage, I hope they get all the aesthetic of the retro futuristic stuff all right around the actual good alien horror story, survival horror story as well. So I think there's a lot riding on it there. So I'm going into it skeptical. So
I think it's fair after the kind of burning we've had previously.
Yeah.
We didn't actually say that in either of those things. So Beetlejuice is being released in Australia on the 5th of September 24. Alien Romulus is the 16th of August 24. So they are both coming out this year. Dead Don't Hurt, which is I only just stumbled onto it. I was today.
Looks like a cool Western.
Yeah, written and directed by Viggo. Looks tense as shit from that trailer in some parts of it.
Viggo's from he's an old actor, isn't he?
Aragorn,
Viggo,
son of Arathorn.
Yeah. Oh, that's who I'm thinking. God, sorry. You know what I'm like. It's my Alzheimer's.
I would follow you to the end, my brother.
Where was I going with that?
I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, I was going with the original
Hidalgo.
No, the guy. It's on the tip of my brain. Carry on. They made a really bad TV series recently of a movie from 20 years ago with the Peck in it, with the short people.
Willow.
Oh God, thank you. One of the actors in Willow, the main barbarian guy. No, that was Val Kilmer. Anyway, carry on.
Did you just have a
word association?
You're doing a really good job there, Pete.
Anyway, Rebel Moon Part 2.
I'm not done. I'm not
finished
done on
with
Dead Don't Hurt. I think Dead Don't Hurt needs more time than anything fucking Rebel Moonish. It is written, directed, produced, composed by, and starring Viggo. This is something he released to a lot of those fancy film, like Cannes film festivals and stuff. Yeah, I think it looks fantastic. It's set in the US Civil War. and it looks obviously. I'm going to think there's going to be some beautiful landscape shots. You already know that he's adopted that horse if you didn't already own it, because that's what he does. He's a good human being. So yeah, this is one like completely again came out of the blue. Excited for it. It was released last year to film festivals, so it is coming out in the next few weeks. I think from memory, it's it was initial release was in September last year. So I don't know how it kind of slipped under the radar until now. But yeah. Yes. Oh yeah, and there's Rebel Moon Part 2 is coming. So yeah, that, even more slow-mo.
More like
Rebel Moon 2, even more slow-mo.
But it's all lightsabers. Like all of that. Yeah, anyway.
I didn't watch it, and I'm not going to watch it. The trailer, I mean.
It's pretty funny.
I'll eventually watch the movie.
Do it.
Clarice. At least
he was in. Yeah,
at least he actually comes out of his fucking shell and starts macking C words left and right.
He does. And then some new TV shows coming on the horizon. So the Fallout, we got the bigger trailer that for its.
It's still looking fucking good to me.
Yeah,
it needed a filter. I think there were a couple of sequences in that when they were doing the panning shot of the post-apocalyptic world. It needed just a smoky yellow greenish filter like you get in the games.
Yeah, definitely.
In my opinion, it just looked a little too clean.
Walter Goggins is looking great in that. I'm hoping he's gonna have the breakout role in that. Yep. It is all episodes out April 12th of April. It's all episodes are dropping on Amazon Prime. Yes, even to the point where Emma sent me the trailer for it and said, "I'd watch this," and I was like, "Really?" I was like, "You watched me play the game, so yeah, sure, let's yeah." So yes, that's one of the new shows coming out. We did get the trailer for Star Wars Acolyte. I was surprised with the way they went with it, seeing as they talked about the whole time about being from a Sith perspective, and it was very Jedi heavy. And we'll see if it delivers.
I'm just rewatching it now. I don't want to get my hopes up for anything Star Wars related anymore.
That's fair.
It just looks like The Witcher Blood Origins to me.
Yeah. Which I'm taking into account, and I will definitely report back on and tell you. Yeah,
anything with Kathleen Kennedy associated with it is
it kind of hit all those beats in the trailer of the original trailer or the trailer for Witcher Blood Origins, where you had Michelle what's her name? Yeoh fighting the main character. So now you got Carrie-Anne Moss fighting the main character. It's just and then the even the city structures of the Outer Rim cities in there reminded me of the fantasy cities out of Witcher Blood Origins. So it's I
hope they make
watch it. So I don't care.
Yeah. I hope they make proper use of Trinity, because she hasn't been in a whole lot. I mean, she's done movies, but she hasn't been in a whole lot. So it'd be a waste of a really fucking good actress if they don't use her effectively.
Oh, and what's his name from Kim?
Yeah. The Asian guy?
Yeah, the Korean actor.
Yeah, he's excellent. I like him.
Can't remember his name for the life of me now off the top of my head. But yeah, well, it's two big names attached to it. But again, it's kind of similar. For Dan's point, it's kind of similar to what they did with Blood Origins. They attached some big names to it, and then it was kind of like, well, those guys kind of were just like, sweet paycheck, thank you.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell, but yeah, we'll see. We'll wait and see. I will report back to Dan for it. So they see because he says he's not going to watch it. And then Penguin, the Penguin trailer looked fantastic.
Yeah, looks great. Looked exactly filmed how the Batman was.
When I first started watching that trailer, I almost for a second thought that was
it was
movie.
The sequel
movie was in.
Yeah. Colin Farrell looks fucking awesome in that makeup.
It's so good.
It's just incredible.
But it's so seamless. Like I remember people talking about when the Batman was first released that no one recognized him.
Like you can't. You barely can. Even knowing it's him, I still struggle to be like, that's him.
Yeah. But it is a Matt Reeves movie, so the continuity from the Batman should be, in terms of artistic and creative direction for cinematography, it should be quite seamless from the movie.
And they're the kind of characters that I absolutely love, and I know I've said it before too, but like Heath Ledger's Joker, where you can't see anything of the actor in the character. And not just physically, but also in their actual performance. It just doesn't come across, and it's they're kind of character actors that I really love.
Yeah. So yeah, that is coming to HBO Max later this year, I think it was.
Without going to the Jared Leto level of character acting.
Oh yes, they
mailing dead animals to their fucking fellow actors.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. That was
knowing when to
outside.
Stop method acting when you leave the studio. Yeah, that's always a good thing.
But a lot of people were saying like Heath Ledger was playing as he was acting as the Joker even outside of filming. He just needed to stay in that character zone the whole sequence of shots. And so while they were filming, he was always the Joker.
Mm.
So I guess kind of when you need to immerse yourself in that level of depth, it's kind of hard to just pop back in and out. I think it would make you a psychopath if you could just put it on, take it off.
Which is interesting because Austin Butler was talking about that's exactly what he did for Dune 2. He stopped when he left. He's like, I can't take that home. I can't take that out. Like, that guy needs to stay.
But that's a conscious choice that he's making because the guy plays a fucking psychopathic serial killer.
But compared to, say, when he was Elvis, like Elvis bled into his outside life. Like,
Have you seen the video that compares his voice from before and after Elvis?
No.
So I don't really understand, and I haven't done any research because it wasn't that interesting, but it was mildly interesting that if you watch videos like interviews with him in the years leading up to Elvis and then during Elvis and then after Elvis, it's permanently changed his voice. And he has this raspy whiskiness quality to his voice now, just while he's talking normally, not when he's acting, that he never had before Elvis. But apparently he spent 12 months doing singing lessons nonstop before Elvis, practicing the accent and the voice and the movements. And it's permanently
his vocal cords.
Changed his vocal cords. Well, I don't know if damaged is the right word, but certainly changed the quality of them. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
But not.
Because that man needed to be made any more appealing to women.
I know. Some people are born holding all the cards.
Talented, good looking, and now he's got the voice down pat as well. He's just there's an absolute magnet these days, wouldn't he be?
Motherfucker.
Yeah, we're all shook up. There.
All right.
I think it's break time.
I think that'll do us. I think that'll do us for a couple of minutes, and we'll be back after these messages from our sponsors. Squarespace? Do we want to use Squarespace? Everyone does Squarespace. I don't know.
Do you have erectile dysfunction?
Hey, hey.
And we're back. And Dan's drinking green tea.
Green tea. Woo-hoo. Wild night, wild long weekend.
It's going to drop acid later, though, folks. Don't believe a word he says.
I wish, but no.
I'm drinking a very dangerous beer. Do you want me to go first, Tom?
Danger!
Danger, Will Robinson.
Yes. Go nuts.
Okay.
I
am drinking Black Hops Brewery Goat Hazy IPA, coming in at 6%. This is lethal.
You're just doing all the sympathetic reviews this week, aren't you?
Digging into all the VAs this week.
Look at you. What a good boy supporting.
It's really fucking nice. For a hazy IPA, it's certainly juicy, but without being offensively so. I get melon and tropical juice. It's got quite a bitter finish, which is kind of nice in this heat, to be honest with you. But it's not loud. So I'm a big fan of not loud beers at the moment. I don't have much more to say about it other than it's a 4.25.
Nice.
Very dangerous because I could easily drink a 6-pack of those.
Yeah, it doesn't taste like
drunk.
6%, does it?
Definitely not.
Does it say what hops are in it, Pete? I've never actually had one. I've only drunk very few black hop beers. Just they never seem to be anything that was ever at Quaker Cellars or anything like that. It just never.
Yeah, I used to get a few of them through the Union. They used to have a few in the bottle shop, but
Yeah.
they stopped dropping the limiteds down here. Maybe they, I don't know, lost a rep down here or something. But-
Okay. Maybe.
It won a gold medal and used the cheat code to get it. Mosaic, Amarillo, and Eldorado.
Oh, and Eldorado. Okay.
Yeah, tells you everything you need to know. No, it's just really nicely combined into a absolutely fucking smashable beer.
Mm.
Greatest of all time, one might even say.
It's no Tom Brady, but hey, that's okay. You can dream.
Tom, what are you drinking, mate?
I'm having the False Start IPA from Fox Friday down in Tassie. Can doesn't show you much except green and brown. Does tell you, though, the malts they've used are Pale and Golden Promise. The hops are Ryefield Centennial, Mosaic, Cryo Mosaic, and Cryo Citra, and their yeast is USO 5.
Sorry, what was that first one?
Ryefield Centennial.
Must be a location.
You cut out for a second there for
He
me.
muted himself halfway through.
I muted
his
myself
sentence.
a little too quick, so you didn't have to hear my clickety clacky keyboard while I look it up.
Yeah. Yes, Ryefield Centennial. It's pouring a nice golden, like not too overly thick, hazy number. Just calling it an IPA now. I guess that is definitely feels it's a juicy. Yeah, given the hops that it's used, you would expect that. But it's very, very nice. It comes in at 6%. Again, doesn't taste like 6%. This is dangerously quaffable. Love that word. What a great word. It's got a nice. It's overly citrusy, I guess is the way to put it. But it's balanced throughout kind of way. So it's like a bit of hit like right at the front, and then it kind of smooths and mellows out.
Ryefield hops are from Bemboka, New South Wales.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Never heard of them. Never heard of them.
Well.
I'll have to look into that. Cool.
That's my gift to you. The gift from Fox Friday, though, is just how smack bang on the can line is.
Yeah,
look at it, Dan. Look at it. Worship it.
It is very bang on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yes, that is very enjoyable. Would be dangerous. It's a 440ml can. So even two of those, you'd be like, woohoo, we're on party time. You end up dancing in a Star Wars helmet in a shower. So yes, no, I'm going to give that a 4.25. That's good. That's good.
Nice.
I'm going to enjoy the rest of this. I'm going to enjoy this. Hey, right, Frenchie.
Should we kick off with some reviews?
Yeah, who wants to go first? Pete, you've got more. You can go first.
I
You've
do,
already done
but
one.
I'm going to blitz through mine. So,
Okay.
Masters of the Skies, which was a continuation of Band of Brothers and Band of Brothers the Pacific, was focused on World War One?
Two.
Band of Brothers is 2, so if it's a continuation,
Yeah, it is 2.
I hope
My
it's the same
apologies.
war.
Yeah, I had to think about that.
They've
I'm
done a
little
time
dizzy
jump.
now already.
Seems World War One was biplanes and triplanes.
Yeah,
Pretty
true.
sure it's World War Two.
Well, the P-52 came in right at the end. 8 episodes, very easy to consume. Lots of atmosphere, lots of nice, like realistic depiction of the horror that they experienced in the skies as well. The fear, the tension. And they had, I think, 3 episodes at the end where a couple of the main characters were in a concentration camp, and they gave you an inside view of those and what the POWs went through in a concentration camp. Is it not called a concentration camp if they're POWs?
No. You called it Master of the Skies. It's called Masters of the Air.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Just for people if they wanted to watch it and they look up the wrong thing.
It was excellent, but I don't think any series that they do now is ever going to compare to the first one or ever beat the first one in terms of atmosphere, romanticness, or a romantic depiction of the troops in World War One. That was just an amazing story of World War Two. Gee.
and they filmed Band of Brothers in Europe, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah. And
they did.
I think that like so much of that, obviously not having seen Masters of the Air or even seen a trailer, and I think outside of the thumbnail that shows up on the PlayStation when I turn it on. That original Band of Brothers series just like had so much practical and on location stuff that if you don't do that these days, it always has that fakeness to it. And I say that in very loose quotation marks because I know it's all Hollywood and it's all fake. But that it just goes back to me always banging on about practical and on location stuff.
They actually did quite a lot of practical filming. They went back to the various military bases because you've got the US guys posted out of England. So a lot of it was filmed in Dalton Barracks in Abingdon.
Excellent.
So yeah, I mean, look, Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg, they've kind of got the formula down pat of the way that they want to tell the stories. I actually think Band of Brothers was as successful as it was, not just because of the way that it was filmed and directed, but also because the actual real world story of Easy Company was so interesting and amazing and defying of all odds that they focused on that because the true story was so spectacular. Not that the real life stories of the people depicted in Masters of the Air isn't also amazing and heroic and all the rest of it, but I just don't think it's ever going to have the same hit. The next one I wanted to talk about was Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 1 on Netflix. This is the second attempt at a live-action kind of interpretation of the cartoon. The first movie was pretty fucking atrocious and it got panned for being whitewashed quite significantly. The TV series doesn't suffer from the same. It is aimed at kids. It's a kids like TV series. So don't expect, complex themes and those sorts of things. But I actually think it was really well made for what it was. It's it reminds me of the movies and TV series that I loved growing up in the sense that it's quite playful. It's a bit janky in places and there's a lot of tell don't show. But I think that's probably because of the target audience. So I can forgive it for that. But yeah, overall, easy to watch, enjoyable, throw it on in the background. It's not a thinker, but it's quite a complex world that they've created for the original cartoon series. So there's quite a lot of content to draw on there. And the last one I wanted to do you want me to break it up? Tom, do you want to talk about Roadhouse? Or do you want me to jump into this?
I mean, I can do a quick rundown of Roadhouse.
Yeah,
Roadhouse.
Do it.
Look, I wasn't intending to watch this, and Emma said, I want to watch this, and I said, you want to watch this because Jake Gyllenhaal is ripped to shit and half nude for half the time, and she goes, abso-fucking-lutely, and I said, all right, let's do it. So we did. Look, it's an hour and 45, 2 hours long. There's some.
Sorry, you said it once before in another episode that you have your lounge room salt. I just imagine your lounge room moisturizer now.
Yes, because I was masturbating furiously
for you.
The entire time.
Yeah, I was talking about you.
Yeah. You just see Jake Gyllenhaal's cum gutters, and you're just like, "Fuck, I'm on." Yep, I just learnt a new word to some people that listen to this, namely my father. I'll explain it at Easter lunch tomorrow, Dad. Look, it's so similar to the original. The only difference is now instead of being a karate master, he's an ex-UFC fighter. It's the same thing where he's a little bit philosophical. He's for someone who gets punched in the face multiple times in his career. He's reasonably intelligent for what he does. It's all set in Florida now. The only thing that was really weird was there was some really oddly placed CGI bits. So it opens. The opening scene is a fight. It's Post Malone, the singer, is and they haven't made him look fit at all. He is still all like jiggly bits and everything, going shirtless fighting. But there's bits of it where he throws a punch and you can tell they've CGI'd his arm in so that he didn't hurt his hand or anything.
Oh,
it's
what?
Super weird. Yeah,
wow.
There's bits where if it's not that, it's the way they've edited it post.
Oh.
It make it look maybe a bit faster.
I hope
it's super weird. It's
Corridor crew break that.
They
down.
might
just tear it apart.
Yeah, I imagine they probably have. But there was some really janky. It's perfect janky bits in it like that. The story is very simple. They try and allude it to the main guy's story. I can't remember the character's name. Jake Gyllenhaal's whatever character he's called. His story is meant to be Dalton. That's it. Dalton. He's like a Western hero, so he like rolls into the town, tries to fix it, and then he rolls on. There were some cool moments in the fight choreography. Obviously, is very good. It is very UFC based, so if you like that kind of that fighting, then you're going to have a reasonably good time. Surprisingly small, not small amount. They kept the bits where Jake Gyllenhaal fights UFC style to certain sections. There's a big patch in the middle where it's like showing him being the bouncer at the Roadhouse, and he's actually teaching the young guys how to fight like him, like for a bit. So he's like passing it on, and they get really like into it. But the scenes where so many broken bones and limbs and stuff that there's points where you're just like like I was feeling
like
it in my
Buck. Whatever.
Not as bad as like some other things you see, but it's like he just grabs a dude's fingers and snaps them off, and you're just like, fuck me, man. He could have. Oh shit, he did warn me anyway, but I wasn't ready for it. And then one of the coolest, there's a massive fight scene at the end, but they kind of went to like a GoPro angle for it. So like they had a GoPro on obviously the stunt double, who as Jake Gyllenhaal's Dalton fighting Conor McGregor, who is. I don't know if he was just high, if he was on speed, whatever he was on. He
phoned it in.
Oh, it wasn't phoning it in. It was like he was like told to act crazy, and he went, "Finally, it's my turn to let loose."
Would he even need to act?
Absolute bonkers. But it was more than I've seen him. Yeah, but more than I've ever seen him before. There's a point where it was just like it was weird.
There was one take on it I heard that was he dialed it up to 11, and everybody was too scared to tell him. He needed to pull it back.
It's not that kind of movie.
Yeah, to pull it back a little bit. Just like, come on, Connor. I know, but just pull it back. Yeah, because I mean, I'm sure he's
fucking fight you.
I'm sure he's a fucking good.
No,
sport,
it's not that.
But
He's this way, and he walks bow-legged. The whole time Emma was like, he walks like an orc.
Yeah.
But then he's just got these like massive pecs, and like he looks almost gorilla-ish in it. And I'm sure he's rolling his shoulder forward for it. But yeah. The best scene I found was one big fight scene, and it's from Dalton, who's Jake Gyllenhaal's like viewpoint, and it's just like up close to Conor McGregor's face throwing punches at you. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I imagine that's what it's like.
It's like VR boxing,
basically. Yeah. Look, enjoyable. Put it on. I had a few beers throughout. I had a bit of a laugh. Emma enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Hour and a half, 2 hour movie. Yeah. So look. Get amongst it. It's on Amazon Prime. It's worth it. There was nothing. There was a real weird Western soundtrack to it, like cowboy soundtrack. But yeah, sure, whatever. It's Florida. Nothing matters down there. Anyway, that's Roadhouse.
The Family Guy Roadhouse episode. Have you guys seen that?
Yes.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's what Tom's referring to there. It's Peter watches Roadhouse, and they do a little clip of Patrick Swayze kicking people. And then Peter just spends the rest of the episode going Roadhouse and kicking people as he goes through. It's fucking hilarious. It's me and Louise quote it all the time.
Yeah, it's just one of those classic episodes. Yeah. All right, someone else jump in.
Yep, Pete's popped to me next. I watched a fantastic movie last week called Nefarious. It's once again things I bang on about, little stories. I think. And not including the extras that don't say anything in the background, and maybe a prison guard or two that might have 2 words. There's 3 people that have any sort of significant lines in this movie. It's primarily 2 guys in a room in a prison talking to each other. A serial killer prisoner who's on death row, and a psychologist that has come to evaluate him at the 11th hour and deem him sane or insane to get executed that evening. And it's them having a conversation in the prison interrogation room, I guess. Just 2 guys, a couple of steel chairs, and a steel table. And that's all it is for 90% of the movie. There's a little break up in between where the psychologist goes out to the prison yard and has a cigarette, but that's all of about 5 minutes. And there's about 10 minutes at the end where the whole conclusion happens, where it's outside of that room. And it's just has to stand on the back of the actors, the script, and the filming. And it just the guy that plays the serial killer, who, and this is no spoiler because it's in the subtext of the movie if you go on Amazon, says he's possessed by a demon, and the psychologist is there to deem whether he is insane, and if he is insane, he cannot go to the execution. But if he's sane and the psychologist signs off, he has to go to the execution. So they obviously think it's an 11th hour ploy to get declared insane and not go to the electric chair.
Avoid
the execution. And so the guy that plays the prisoner plays the two personalities and switches between them. He plays the demon possessing and the prisoner who is unpossessed, and he flip-flops between these two extreme different personalities without a break in the camera, without a cut. Like he'll do it on screen in frame, and it's magical to watch. I love these sort of things where it's just captivating all the way through, and the story that him telling the story of the demon that he is just captivating, and talking about philosophical religion all the way through it, and the good versus evil, and the hierarchy of heaven and hell, and it's just I just loved it. I thought it was just a brilliant start to finish, and it was one of those ones that I knew nothing about going in. It was an absolute roll of the dice when we saw it. We were looking for something new and different, and obviously content's a little scant at the moment because we're still coming off the back of the strikes and everything. So it was 110% a roll of the dice. Didn't know the people in it. They I would say this in quotation mark, no names. I'm sure they're not, but I don't remember them from anything I'd seen before.
I just looked them up. They're relatively new.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, they've been in other stuff, but background character kind of things. Yeah.
And just I cannot recommend it more. It is. I will 100% go and watch it again. Now that I've seen the story through, I want to go back and watch for any of those clues. It kind of like the kind of reminded me a little bit of Primal Fear with Edward Norton and Richard Gere, where if you go back and watch it again, you start to see the cues because you know where the ending is going and everything like that. I'm very interested to go back through and watch it again and just listen, sort of settle in, listen to the dialogue, watch the actors, and just see how all that plays out again. So it was great. And
Amazon Prime's been doing a few of these films recently where they do that, where it's like it's a film version of a play almost, like a one-room set play.
I
talked about that one.
That's right up Dan's alley.
Yeah, that one with Chris Pine that I watched a few months ago, and it's him and Thandie Newton as their ex-spies, and it's just them in a restaurant. And sure, you get some panning shots around the rest of the restaurant, but it's focused on their table the entire time. But it literally, it just felt like you watch.
What was that?
Was that part of that conversation?
It's called All the Old Knives. It's on Prime.
Okay.
And it was just, but it's that same thing of like it definitely feels like you're watching a film version of a screen, not screen, stage play. Stage play.
Yeah. Excellent. Loved it. Cool. So
how did it stack against James McAvoy in Split in terms of the multiple personality acting? Because to me, that's the fucking benchmark.
Oh.
Yeah. I'd say they're both fantastic multiple personality. McAvoy had more to play with, and the personalities were more flamboyant in their way. Each one was, I mean, I guess this guy does flip-flop between two extreme personalities, but McAvoy's were really extreme.
Very extreme. Yeah, they were.
I would say they're both great in their own ways. I would not say, I would happily say neither of them is better than the other.
Okay, cool. I'm keen to check it out.
And
that's cool.
My other quick one is just the TV series of What We Do in the Shadows, which is done off the Taika Waititi mockumentary movie of 3 vampires in a house that was filmed quite a few years ago, probably 10 or 12 years ago now. This is a new set of 3 vampires that live in a house together in Staten Island. It's the 3 traditional vampires, so blood-sucking vampires, and their energy vampire roommate who is by far the second best to best character in the show, because we've all known someone like him in our lives. And he's just he goes out of his way to have these enormously boring conversations so he can sap the life out of people as they listen to him just ramble on about these stupid
Fantastic.
topics.
Yeah.
And it's just
Definitely know people like that.
and because it's a mockumentary, like they have the documentary makers with them. So he'll be like boring these people to sleep because he's sucking the life out of them, and he'll turn to the camera and laugh and like give a little nod or a thumbs up or something like that.
So it's almost like an Office.
Yeah,
style.
most definitely is, and it's just great. The all of the actors are absolutely fantastic, and we're up to season 4 now, and there's 5 seasons, and they haven't repeated themselves. It's you feel like this story could get sort of stale if they just sort of stick with the same thing, but the story evolves as they go through. The Taika Waititi and one of the original guys from the movie are in the TV show. They appear every now and then because they're on the World Supreme Vampire Council. So they appear every now and again to judge certain people throughout the TV series. They're 20 to 24 minutes long. You just basically don't want it to end. It's just it's so well written, and just
I've seen so many clips from that for Laszlo.
Yeah, Laszlo's great. Yeah, Laszlo,
and just Matt Berry as an actor, and just the way he pronounces certain things and the way he delivers lines. It's just like they're very good.
He really finds his stride in about season 3. And just you could just see I think it's season 3 comes back, and he's got slightly longer hair, and he just moves differently. You can just see that something absolutely tweaked in his head after the first 2 seasons, and he just falls into this role and just absolutely chews up the scene, and is just hams it up as big as he can all the way through it. It's just fantastic.
You're talking about Matt Berry, right?
Yeah. IT Crowd?
Yeah. I fucking love him in IT Crowd.
Yeah, he's fantastic. It's Laszlo. That was the Colin and Laszlo were my 2. Which one is the better character in the later seasons? Which one is the better character? But Nadia
I'll have to check it out.
Nadia and Nandor, the other 2 vampires, are great, and Guillermo, their familiar, who his story evolves through as well, and it's just shitloads of fun. It's so off the wall, unserious, and just some weird, crazy shit just happens, and it's just enjoyable. So
it's one thing that cool. Emma and I need to go back and to finish the show, but I don't know if either of you have seen it. But did you watch Our Flag Means Death? Speaking of Taika comedies,
not yet. No, I started to watch it, but I started to watch it while I've been watching What We Do in the Shadows, and I watched the first episode, and it just didn't have that.
It's
that hook.
Yeah, it's too much of Taika-ness.
Yes,
I feel into it. But apparently, what I've read is because I've kept an eye on it. We got halfway through it. It's like, we should just go back and finish that eventually. But it's just that eventually Taika like kind of falls into a rhythm and actually kind of realizes he's being a bit too Taika, and then it gets better as it goes on. But yeah, it's a similar kind of vein of comedy if you wanted another show like that.
Yeah, because I love Rhys Davies. I think he's fantastage, and
he's hilarious,
and he played the werewolf in the What We Do in the Shadows mockumentary movie. So Arj Barker plays the main werewolf guy in the first series.
I like Arj Barker.
Yeah, he's not in it much, but it was just fun to see him in that sort of character.
I love how he is one of the most American comedians that you get these days, but he's so connected with New Zealand and Australian comedy.
Yeah,
I think that's fantastic.
Well, his wife's Australian, isn't she? I think.
Oh, there you go.
I think she is.
I'm sure didn't he start his career in Australia?
Yeah, he lived here for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he still does.
That's probably why. Yeah.
Definitely.
But
that's to my
Peter. What's next?
So I'm going to quickly talk about Constellation season 1, which we talked about a couple of episodes ago when it was a trailer. It's an Apple Plus series. I'm really struggling to put my finger on what I think about it. I watched the last episode last night. Actually watched the last 2 episodes last night. It was an interesting theory that drove the story forward. I'm going to try not to go through too many spoilers in terms of what the characters go through, but overall it's based on quantum superposition, so the multiple universes theory. The thing that I struggle with, and it switches between Swedish and English. It's based around the European Space Agency, the USSR / Russia is kind of features pretty prominently because they are talking about space exploration, and it starts on ISS, and there's a accident on ISS, and everything else kind of splits off from there. The thing that really bugged me about it, and I don't know if it's a fair indictment of the series or not. So I'm assuming you guys will happily tell me your opinion on my thoughts. Astronauts, to me, are the best of humanity. Like, you think about NASA astronauts specifically, to get to be a NASA astronaut, you need to be in your 30s because you need enough practical experience that basically it's impossible to get into the astronaut program in your 20s because you don't have a decade of practical experience flying jets in the military or in a STEM field. You need a master's degree to even apply for the astronaut program in America. Right. You need it's like 2.5 years of training before you even get into mission specific training. These are the best humans that this species turns out. And if you have a look at the Twitch, like if you do any research into the response time and the Twitch response times of like Top Gun pilots who feed into astronaut training, these guys are superhuman in their ability to respond to physical stimuli. They survive G-forces. Normal humans literally just cannot survive. And so I know that's a really long lead in, but when you watch a series with a bunch of astronauts where the main astronaut character falls to pieces every time there's a minor emotional spur, to me, it just ruins the realism of the whole series. Because
no, counterpoint. The astronaut who put on diapers and chased her ex-husband across America.
Yes,
not the best of humanity.
But was she actually an astronaut?
Yeah.
I remember the story. I know she was a NASA.
Ben Folds wrote a song about her. But she was a pretty famous story. But no, I get exactly where you're coming from in terms of like the peak of physical performance. And you'd assume mental performance in terms of academia.
I know for a fact that they deal with like real-time trigonometry and maths issues, like maths problems they have to solve in real time that the three of us have no fucking hope in hell of ever being able to solve in real time.
I sometimes forget my times tables.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I can't even do my times tables anymore.
So these guys are incredibly stable. They're vetted by psychologists and psychiatrists. They're extremely emotional stable because they have to be. If you're going to go up to ISS for a year or two, they're going to assess you for your ability to deal with emotional stimuli, right? And so when you were looking at an astronaut as a main character, and it particularly bugged me that she was female, just every single time anything was a little weird or emotional, she'd just fall to pieces and just wouldn't be able to deal with it. And so the storyline itself was interesting, and she was certainly put in stressful situations, but I just felt it was utterly unrealistic that she was crying for like 90% of her screen time, the main character.
It's just
poor
script
couldn't
writing.
handle it. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, because the actress who plays the main character, her name is
It's been a lot of things.
Numi Rapace.
Yeah, I recognized her as soon as I kind of quickly looked up the series. Yeah,
she's an excellent actress. Jonathan Banks plays kind of a secondary main character. Okay. He's excellent. He's just a grumpy old fuck, and I love him for it. But yeah,
that's his role in most things.
He's
as well.
Totally typecast. Yeah. I don't know. The series was interesting, but I wouldn't call it enjoyable.
Okay,
if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So worth watching, but it's not something you're going to get to the end and go, "Oh, that was really fucking cool."
But there was the writing of the character that let you down.
Yes,
in terms of just not being able to handle stuff or whatever.
But the overall
and were they doing that for the sake of like drama beats or to heighten tension
I think it was to depict.
the character?
No, the storyline is pretty messed up, but
okay.
like I'm not an astronaut, and I figured out what was
What?
going on in episode 2, and it took her another 6 episodes in the series to finally figure out what the fuck was going on. It's
Right.
like, I'm sorry, but if you're being flown to space and you spend a year in ISS, you understand the basic mechanics of quantum physics, right? And so it's not that big a draw. Like, it was pretty fucking obvious from 2 episodes in what was really going on. And it just took way too long for her to figure it out.
Right.
So I think the core
Bad
premise,
character writing.
I think the core premise of the series was actually quite intelligent and interesting, and it was a cool exploration of quantum superposition, but the execution was just kind of lacking for me. Anyway.
I did not understand what you meant by quantum superpositioning, and I don't need you to explain it to me because I probably still won't understand it. But I'm happy for you that you know what it means.
Okay. Well, my brother is a astrophysicist, so he's got a PhD in the topic, and I have been bored at many a family dinner listening to him talk about it.
Well, my brother's a drunk, but hey, we don't go on about him. He's
and
not.
listens to the show. He's a lovely man.
Does he? I don't know.
Sometimes.
One of them does. Anyway, okay, cool. Right. Well, and that is on
Apple TV.
Ooh, Apple.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yep.
Are you ready for your 4th beer? I'm just cracking
I
mine.
am not.
Okay.
So, do you want to plow ahead and we'll...
Well, you fill in some filler and I'll pour and taste.
Well, we're into Are You Winning, Son? And for the first time in history, we've got like a full 30 minutes to explore it. So...
Excellent. I'm going to talk about every single minute detail of the game.
No. With your 46 games that you played this week.
No, I haven't had any time. It's been very depressing over the last month. Very
Dan?
upset.
Do you want to kick us off, Dan?
Yeah, let Dan go.
Yeah, I mean, I actually haven't been playing anything different in the last several weeks. Actually, I haven't actually really been playing much until the last 2 weeks. I just I got a bit in a bit of a rut. There's been just not a bit of a rut. Not that's not right. Just didn't feel like doing much gaming wise, and didn't have anything on the PlayStation to play after I finished whatever I was playing last, which I cannot even remember what I was playing last.
We've talked about it, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I think it was one of the Lord of the Rings.
You were playing Shadows.
No, I did played something after that too. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I will be going to pick up.
Does matter, and I'm going to look it up in the old show notes.
I gotta go and pick up Banishers tomorrow and get into. Banishers
you're getting Banishers, you bastard!
Yeah,
I
thought I'd get into that while they sort out all the bits and pieces with Dragon's Dogma 2. Let them come out with some patches and do that. So I'm going to dive into Banishers.
Did you play the first game?
No. I thought about it, but never.
In the last episode we recorded with Are You Winning, Son, you were talking about Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty, Conan Exiles, and Trek to Yumi.
Yes. Okay. Well, I haven't touched Conan or Trek to Yumi, so I'm still playing Blacksmith, Song of Two Kings. That's the guy's just the single dev that released the Blacksmith game I was playing is slowly releasing elements. I'm part of his Discord group, and he's taking on board people's suggestions for what they'd like added to the game, and whatever he can,
which I think is great,
manage. He's adding in, and it's really coming down to how the tools work and setting up lines. He's adding in like a chalk marker, so you can actually mark the materials before you cut them and everything like that. Because at the moment you're kind of doing it by eyeball, like looking at the design. You can't draw on it first to make sure it looks right, and then cut it or work it, and you can't overlay the blueprint on top of the material. So you got to put the material either on top of the blueprint, and sort of,
which is in the top left corner in a little.
Or you can move it. You can move the blueprint wherever.
Okay.
So you can move it down and put it wherever. So it's quite hard if you've got a chunk of metal and you got to cut 12 gear teeth into a chunk of metal. You kind of line the saw up with the blueprint and then move the material on and then do the cut to where you think it should stop and then move it off and then like realign the saw. So it's a bit tedious. So he's putting in a chalk marker. He's refined on how some of the other tools work, the accuracy of some of the other tools, which is great. Like, good on him. And he's still getting absolutely hounded on Discord, and I wish the people would just leave him the fuck alone, because there's one or two guys on there.
Haters going to hate.
Oh, but they're just like, oh, why haven't you done this yet? And he comes on, he's super polite about it and just says, look,
why don't you suck my cock?
This isn't my full-time job. I have to do this outside of work. I'm trying to do everything I can to help you guys. So
That pisses me off though. Like these,
incredible.
Add me to the Discord. I'll defend the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
I'll fight
Yeah.
those guys. I'll fight them
just
all. I've had
narcissistic
6
wankers.
beers. Let's fight him. Let's fight them all. Let's fight them all.
And
I got a hammer somewhere. Where is it?
so good on him for doing that. Still love the game. It's fantastic. And after my first 40 hours in Baldur's Gate, I've finally decided to start it. And
Golf claps.
Are you enjoying it?
I'm loving it. It's so different to see what has, like, I only played I think 2 versions before the full release, and there was so much that they hadn't put in at 2 versions beforehand, and it's same but different. So they're, like we've spoken about, Pete, like characters that weren't in the version that I played.
Yeah.
Or Karlak was in the first version that I played, but never joined your party. So you could do the first little mission that is when you meet her. Won't spoil it for anybody. But after you finish that mission, she wasn't around to join your group. And she wouldn't come to do that mission with you either. So she was just a character there. She was just an NPC in the world. So I never thought anything of it until she joins my party to complete that mission on this playthrough. And she's one of my favorite characters now. And like I said to you,
Yeah, she's one of mine.
yeah, it's just the hilarity that comes out of just thinking and using the game mechanics to your advantage. Like I said, I was all out of action points. I had a goblin warlock that was on a platform that was really pissing me off because they really hit quite hard with their spells, and I couldn't get to him with the movement. So Karlak's got a throw option because she's an improvised throw option because she's a barbarian. I had nothing within my reach that I could improvise throw, so I looked at in the inventory, and I had a spare great axe because I just swapped it out for another weapon. And she actually grips the great axe by the handle and throws it end over end, and just took this warlock out with a great axe to the head. I thought it was one of the funnest moments I'd had. So,
was that on the bridge to the goblin camp?
no, it was inside the goblin camp.
Okay, because one of the goblin spellcasters loves to stand up in a bugged kind of tower that you can't actually reach, and he throws spells across the long bridge over the moat, and that caused me no end of headache. But I mean, what a perfect example of how flexible and dynamic the rule set is for 5th edition D&D, and how you can tell a genuinely interesting and intricate story within that framework.
Yeah, and a lot of that story has played out much more now for me than was ever in the first 2 sections. Same section, but the first 2 playthroughs of Act 1 that I did. I'm still not at the end of Act 1 because there's so much extra content in the Act 1 area than it was beforehand.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Yeah. There's a lot happening in that world, and I'm very glad I've stayed away from 90% of people talking about it on YouTube and things like that, because I just hit something in the story and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to play out. So
Good.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a lot of talking and I needed to cough.
That's right. I just
strong tea there, buddy.
Yeah. So who's winning next? Are you winning, Tom? You're next up on the list.
Do you want to do beers first?
We can do beers first.
Sorry,
I'm going to sit on this beer, so we can either split through reviews and then do beers at the end.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay,
let's do that.
This is a great little joke that I wrote for myself that Pete's picked up on in the show notes. That I am winning through ACCR, which is Assassin's Credence Clearwater Revival. Because
Code Red hasn't been released yet, so what the fuck are you smoking?
No, because it's a group of guys, so they're a brotherhood, and it's a revelations to me that you didn't get that joke.
Oh, give yourself an uppercut.
Yes. Well done, Tom. Yeah. Look, Brotherhood was fine. I got sick of Rome very quickly, and I really struggled through the end of that game. I don't know. Something about Brotherhood just really didn't sit well with me.
Didn't sit well?
No, it's not that it didn't sit well. I got bored. Like, I think it's because it's the same location.
It is a bit repetitive.
Yeah. And I just finished through AC2. Much more enjoying Revelations. I like it it's in Constantinople. The music, I think that was it. It was the music as well, because it was the basically same soundtrack in 2 and Brotherhood. And then moving to...
Was it the same soundtrack? I didn't realize that.
Not the same, but same themes came through.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in Revelations, they do have a bit of that Middle Eastern flair
start
to
to
it.
kind of climb
And
into
that
it.
key that you talk about, that minor key that comes through really strongly, and it's actually really beautiful music. So yeah, I'm really enjoying being in Revelations.
7-tone octave, yeah.
I don't know. Did you ever play there was a DLC that was released for Revelations, which was all about the Subject 16 dude, but it's from that first person perspective. It's called The Lost Archive. You know, you had those weird missions.
I might have played it. I don't
have those
remember.
weird missions where you don't see. It's like VR. It's almost like VR kind of perspective, but you're running through these.
Yeah.
The Animus thing.
Yeah.
Most boring as batshit fucking horror. There's a whole DLC around it. It was horrible. I spent all day yesterday going through it just because I have to, because it's part of the remastered part of it.
Okay.
They've included it.
There's a whole DLC with you not being an assassin.
No, you're literally running through learning about like how this dude that you never play as, and if you don't care about the external story, like I don't. I care about the historical story of it, but not the like modern day story. So you're running through as this Clay, who's Subject 16. I couldn't give.
Oh, you're ringing bells.
I couldn't give two flying shits about it, and I had to do 7 missions, and one of them was get through this entire laser grid fucking thing without getting hit, and I almost threw the controller through the wall yesterday, but I finally did it. But yeah, the rest of Revelations has been great. I like
I'm
being
really
back
interested
in
to
a
see,
Middle Eastern country.
I'm really interested to see if you get a dopamine hit from the story climax. Dan knows exactly what I'm talking.
Yeah.
Well, Dan has experienced it. I don't know if he knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I'm about halfway through Revelations, and it's a refreshing. I was getting really stagnant with Brotherhood, so this has actually kind of gone cool. I'm actually keen to go back to the rest of them now, and I'll keep plugging away. And then I finally turned on the PS3 again last weekend after a massive hiatus. I haven't been able to play games much lately because of the new job, but Emma was very hungover on the couch, so she was watching some show that I had no interest in. So I was like, I'll go in the front room. And I jumped back into Spec Ops: The Line. I don't know if you guys ever played that on PS3. Oh man, it's a fantastic commentary, and the game's unfortunately delisted now. I don't know if you'd be able to find it on Steam. It'd be great if you could.
No, I think it's completely gone. I know a lot about it, but I've never played it.
But it's a great commentary, like on it's like cross between mid 2000s US being in Afghanistan and all those kind of countries, but then also going back to Vietnam. And these guys are like kind of cross-referencing that in one game. Right. There are many sequences where you commit war crimes. I have committed a war crime of the white phosphorus variety. One of the big ones, as they say in the Geneva community.
Putin will be congratulating you shortly.
He actually called me yesterday to say, well done. He
was, wow.
What a great
lovely guy. Yeah.
So yeah, it's you slowly watch the main soldier go through. He just loses his mind. But at the same time, through a cover-based shooter where you control 2 other guys that you can control and stuff. It's great. And I look, it's one of those games that really deserves a remaster. I doubt they will, but it's even playing the PS3 version, I was playing it before we signed on today. It still holds up. It still looks like it's for what it is. It looks good for a easily 12, 13-year-old game. But it's one of those ones that, like, I played it originally. I don't think the story affected me as much when I was my mid-20s going through it. And so going back now and playing through it, I was like, holy shit, this shit is heavy. And it's kind of nice to be able to have to play it from the start and go through again. But so it's very modern. Like it's set in Dubai after a, let's say, post-apocalyptic desert storm that has ripped through the city and destroyed it, like a sandstorm kind of thing. But it's got a Vietnam soundtrack, so that's where that kind of element creeps into it. So
cool.
It's fun. It's fun. It's good to go through. But that's what I am winning. I'm winning. I'm slowly getting through them as I find time.
Nice.
Peter, but what about you?
Truly winning.
So I finished Elden Ring. I hit the platinum trophy on that. Fuck, that was a good game.
Yeah.
Like, it was challenging. The final boss caused me to stop.
Yeah, your message around the final boss was entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah. because the final boss in the game is a double boss. You have to fight a dude and then the Elden Ring itself, and I won't go into any more detail than that. Like the avatar of the Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And so you kind of spend a lot of your resources killing the first boss, who's no walk in the park by himself.
Yeah.
And so by the time you get to the big boss with his like ludicrous arsenal of shit to fuck you up with, you're kind of already out of all of your consumables, or your time-based consumables have already expired. So, and this boss, like this final boss, to give you some examples without going into gory detail, casts this Elden Ring in the sky above you. He kind of flies up. He's a plesiosaur almost, like an ocean-based dinosaur that floats in the world, and you're transported to this world where like it's an out of universe experience, and then he jumps up and floats through the air, casts this golden Elden Ring in the sky, and then it falls to Earth, and you basically have to jump over these reciprocating rings that are moving, and you have to jump over it 3 times to avoid damage, and it's nuke damage that'll take you from 100% health to like 10% health.
Yeah, right.
And that's just one of about 12 moves that he has.
That sounds so Final Fantasy, it's not funny. Like,
he's got a skyscraper-sized sword that he swings at you if you get too close to him. He's a
weird-looking boss.
Yeah, the Elden Beast. Is that what you're looking at? Yeah.
Dan, is this your first foray into like JPRG kind of monster bosses? Because I'm sure they get weirder.
Oh yeah, no, I know they're weird.
Oh, they definitely do.
Yeah. Almost like a static photo really doesn't do it justice, because you can see that there's a whole bunch of moving parts to it. So it probably looks very different in
and there's
motion.
like a universe inside his body which is constantly in motion too. So he looks beautiful. Yeah. And like the whole game is gorgeous in terms of its artistic direction. I've actually considered buying the art book to go next to the World of Warcraft art books, because it really is quite inspirational in terms of the back plates and all the rest of it.
100%.
But I crashed against that wall numerous times to a point where I basically respec'd my entire character from scratch and had to go back and grab new armor, new weapons, new consumables, new cookbooks to build the consumables. I had to rebuild my character from scratch just to beat this boss, because my focus for the entire game had been a bleed build, which relies on the bad guys being able to bleed. And, and then the final boss doesn't bleed. He's made out of crystal. So I kind of had to restructure my entire build around him. So it was enjoyable. I've prepped myself.
I really hope you said that to your TV at one point. Just when it wasn't working, you just did that.
Do you bleed?
Do you bleed?
I'm in a good spot for the DLC, but I will probably do some DLC prep before I actually launch it. So like my new build is probably unquestionably superior to my old build, so I'm going to stick with it. But I have a unique weapon that the only way to get a second version of it and dual wield it is to do a New Game Plus. So I'll probably launch into the New Game Plus, rush around, grab all the bits that I want. There's a few armor pieces that I locked myself out of in the first playthrough because I either progressed the main storyline past a quest point, so a side quest point to get the armor that I want, or they're just unique items that I want two of. So I'll do some prep for the DLC. But I stopped playing, and like you, Dan, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, where we've had Are You Winning Sons, where I've just said I haven't even turned on the PS5, and that's happened quite a lot. I turned off the PS5 at the end of Elden Ring, hitting the platinum, and just didn't even think about it for 2 weeks. And then for all the furor around Helldrivers 2, I thought, fuck it, I'll try that. And Jesus Christ, am I glad I did.
See, it's weird you guys say that, because like I haven't been able to play my PS5 in 2 weeks, and I've been like, fuck this new job. I'm just going to quit and play my PS5 all day, because that's what I want to do.
I got to say, Helldivers 2 is so much goddamn fun. It's not you couldn't describe it as arcadey, but it is arcadey in the sense that you get into the thick of it instantly. There's no fucking around. You don't have to explore the world. You just kind of launch into a mission and start playing.
Literally launch into a mission.
Yeah. It's cinematic in the sense that you get the Starship Trooper slow-mo cinematic events in almost every mission. You have to kind of, like, it's not like the game forces you into a cinematic mid-game, but there are so many moments where you'll be shooting a dude with a fucking a machine gun and someone will dive across your screen and just cop a bullet straight in them or intercept a rocket that was coming for you. I have laughed my ass off throughout the game, particularly where you've got voice comms with other players. There's so much fun stuff to explore. The bugs, so the Starship Troopers style bugs / Tyranids from Warhammer 40k, all those kinds of things combined into the bugs are one force. You have so they're called the Terminids. You have the automatons, which are 100% Terminators.
Yeah.
But not like it starts with Terminators. That's the base guy. Like that's the minimum, like the lowest level troop. And then you have mechs, and their forces are primarily based around robotic mechs, usually with silver skulls in the middle of them. But there's a real skull motif.
The T-800s were the grunts as well. And then you had the hunter killers. True. And then the big tank things. And
yeah, true. The game mechanics in terms of playing the game, earning experience, there's several tiers of kind of not what am I thinking of coins to spend. Like you earn various credits and there's multiple tiers of credit system. There's multiple layers of credit system, so you can spend some on upgrades to your ship, which allows you to do like orbital bombardments more frequently or more effectively. There's gear that you can unlock, like guns and armor and stuff that uses a different currency. Currency was the word I was looking for. But what impresses me the most about the game is that it is an indie game. It's not really indie. Arrowhead Studios has been around for about 10 years and they've made 3 or 4 other games. So it's not technically indie. But it's a $60 game. It's a fucking cheap game. There's a minimum of 300,000 people playing it at any given moment while I've been playing the game. And you can see them distributed across the universe. But what's most impressive is it's 100% curated. So you started with Earth in the middle and the 2 or 3 sectors around it, and players had to defeat enough missions in a specific time frame to like push back the Terminids and the automatons from those regions.
Yeah,
and then
I've been keeping an eye on it too, and like the things they talk about where you won a certain battle planet and now everyone can get mechs.
Yeah, and it's gone out in concentric rings with super Earth in the center, and we're on the very edges of space now, and we're pushing into Terminid home planets and automaton home planets. There's and yet there's counter strikes as well. So like I'll wake up in the morning and we'll have lost a planet, and now we have to defend it. Or we're pushing back the automatons at the moment, and so they've released 2 new weapons that we've never heard of before that if you're a certain level you can unlock to like they've unlocked them from the arsenal to help push manage democracy. The whole thing is a really entertaining parody or satire of current government systems. You're pushing managed democracy out into the universe, and you're invading these planets. And the whole campaign talks about how you have to push back the alien scum because they're wasting resources, and us humans, us sentient humans are superior.
For democracy and for Super Earth.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's all curated. Somebody like the development team have to sit there and go, okay, well, enough people threw themselves at liberating a planet because it is called liberating the planet. Now it's time for a counter push, or we'll let them encroach on the next level of territory. Now, I've never played Helldrivers 1, but there is a major enemy, like the main bad guy in Helldrivers 1 isn't even present in Helldrivers 2. Okay. But people have done some data file mining and found that they've started started introducing the models, like the Unreal 5 models for them.
Mhm.
So they're definitely coming. But someone's curating this as a storyline.
Yeah.
It's just...
I mean, that's how you do a live service well.
Exactly.
But there's no cost in it. Like so the main unlock tree for your armor and weapons and grenades and your cosmetics, because you have helmets and you have capes.
Yeah.
You have to have a cape if you're gonna push out managed democracy. And your few other unlocks. That's all included in the base game. And then I think for $8 Australian, you can unlock. They've now pushed out two extra packs, and you still have to spend in-game currency, so you earn medals for being valorous in your combat, and you can spend those medals to unlock bits, armor pieces, weapons, etc. So there's 2 packs that they've released for $8 each, or in your main unlock tree, you can buy items that give you the credits that you can use to buy these extra 2 packs. So you actually don't have to spend a goddamn cent to unlock everything.
But if you want them now, you can spend the money.
Well, if you want access to them now, you still need medals to buy the items. You can unlock the tree. So it costs you $8 to unlock the tree, but you still need to spend 20 medals to buy the gun in that new tree that you unlocked.
But the thing,
but you could unlock the tree without spending the $8.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you talk about it doesn't cost you anything more, and if you look at it from the counterpoint of view, you haven't spent any more, but you've probably just made the company another $120, because if we now go and buy it, we've spent $60, which is potentially a hell of a lot more money than a small player base buying a few microtransactions here and there, a massive player base buying the game ongoing and getting more people to jump in on it continuously.
Yeah. But it's a game that earned its crust.
Yeah.
Like it's breaking records on Steam at the moment, and has since day one in terms of player base. It actually broke the servers. They didn't expect the response that they got. But this is a company that demonstrates that if you make a enjoyable game, to me, this is the next PUBG. It's
also done a great thing in that it's driven a lot of people to go watch the original Starship Troopers.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah. But to me, it's PUBG in the sense that a small development studio who didn't have a long series of successful, recycling of the same old IP and hundreds of millions of dollars of budget, built a game that was just genuinely fun to play, and it redefined the genre. You could bet your bottom dollar all of the big studios right now are looking at cloning it and adding like the fucking Call of Duty seasons where it's all FOMO, like, oh my god, I have to play the game and get to the end of the season before the next season, or else I'm going to miss out on the green gun that isn't red. Like all these games in that genre have just been based on this macro transaction where it's not micro. It's like you pay $30-$40 to unlock an item, whereas Helldivers 2 has created this just genuinely fun game that you don't have to spend another cent on. It's $60 to start with. So it's half the price of a AAA title.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking fun. I mean, it's not perfect. The pickup groups, I play with idiots all the fucking time. You have groups that are not on comms, and it is a game where the game is easy to play if you're talking to 3 other people who know how the game works and you can speak to them. Right, you two go over there, blow up that base. We're going over here to blow up this base. We'll meet back in the middle. Like, you can actually coordinate your attacks. You can coordinate your cooldowns and all the rest of it. So if you get a good team with no comms, generally you come through okay. But I've found teams of low-level characters that, as soon as they start dying, they just drop out straight away. You still get the Call of Duty kids.
Yeah.
So it's a bit hit and miss sometimes, but it's cross-play between PC, so Steam, PC, and PS5. You've got friend lists that are cross-play as well. So you can kind of grab pickup groups with those friends again. And so I've had about 15 people that I've been playing with pretty regularly, all on comms. None of them Australian. It's 2 New Zealander guys who you never see online without the other. They're hilarious. some Swedish guys, a German guy, and a bunch of Americans.
Man, I played some great, like, as much as I shit on
Yeah, you
Destiny now, I played some great Destiny with some New Zealand guys. They were so much fun to play with.
Yeah, they're cool. So yeah, no, I honestly recommend if you just want a game that you can pick up. You can't play it in 10 minutes. Like each mission is 40 minutes long. There's a 40-minute timer. And as you get into the harder difficulties, you have series, like mission series is where you've got to do, like I'm at level 6 out of 9 in difficulty. I've got to do 2 40-minute missions and a 15-minute mission in a sequence to get the maximum medals. So that's a 2-hour commitment if you're going to play all the way through.
Yeah.
And you can drop out and people can jump in midway through the mission. So it's pretty flexible in that sense. But it is a pick up, put down game that you could play a couple of games today, play a couple of rounds tomorrow, and then drop it for a week. The planets will have moved in terms of where we are, in terms of pushing back the Terminids and the automatons.
Yeah.
But you're not going to miss out on anything. So, yeah, super fun to play.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to play it. Definitely.
I actually probably won't.
No?
It's for me, I lost so much gaming time through Destiny. I just can't.
It's not Destiny though.
I know
That's
it's not. I know it's
totally
not.
different style of game.
No, but it's one of those things that'll suck me in again, and I'll lose another year of my life.
It's like every first-person shooter you're gun shy about.
I miss so many games for the years that I was sucked.
But that's
into
a looter shooter. That's a game that keeps you on the treadmill as its core game mechanic. This is a first-person action shooter.
Third person.
Third person. You can switch between, but yeah, you're right. Third person action shooter.
No, but it's the call to get that planet and.
But I haven't upgraded. I haven't changed my loadout in 20 missions because I really like my loadout.
Yeah,
that's not what's interesting. What's interesting is, the mission variety is crazy. Like it's all generative AI. So every mission or generative, every mission is a different landscape. The planets have interesting atmospheric effects. The bad guys have different effects. Yeah, no, you're not playing for the next unlock. That's a Call of Duty mechanic. You're playing because you're enjoying yourself. Anyway,
no, I'm still too traumatized, so I'm not doing it. So yeah, nah.
That's the end of my story.
Okay,
that's us.
What beer are you drinking while you were talking about
you still guys got to do beer.
Yeah, shut up. Get in your lane, tea boy. Green tea boy.
I'm drinking my only Easter. Dan's
go.
Oh.
I thought it was rude if I sat here and told Louise I was almost ready for dinner, but fuck it, I'll do that now.
So I'm drinking Bridge Road Brewers Eggster Triple Chocolate Ale.
Ooh,
just my Easter themed beer.
Tis the season, yeah.
It is a super dark, black brown ale. And it is chocolate, and a little bit of chocolate on top, just to change it up.
Oh yeah, just to change it up. Yeah.
So it's funny, you don't get any coffee whatsoever in the flavor, but you definitely can smell it. Like it's got quite a lot of coffee notes in the aroma.
Yep.
Drinking it, it's a super sweet chocolate base, but it kind of mellows into cocoa like a hot chocolate, like proper bitter hot chocolate at the end of the palate. It's fucking spectacular. I could drink 10 of these. Like, it's not palate fatiguing at all.
Yeah.
It's just really goddamn tasty. It's like chocolate milk, but with bite to it. 6%, so it's no laughing matter to drink a 6-pack of them. I'm going to give that a 4.75. That's thoroughly enjoyable as a dark ale.
Also, knowing most independent craft breweries, whatever you want to fucking call them these days, it's going to be a 4-pack, not a 6-pack.
It is. It is a 4-pack.
Very good. How good? Do you have another one of them?
I do.
Are you going to drink it out of a bunny? Do the classic little
I am
Easter hack?
break the ears off and pour it into the bunny?
Yeah, break the ears off and pour the beer in, yeah.
Can't say I've ever done that, and no, I will not be starting.
Oh, well, it's a trend on these social medias.
I'm not trendy. Come on, man. I'm in my 40s.
No, that's not something none of us have ever accused you of. Got him. I am drinking the sequel to a beer we all had a little while ago. I'm drinking the Garage Project Escape from the Temple of Haze. And it's the same kind of really cool artwork that is going to be peeled off this can.
D&D beer.
Yep, and it's going to be peeled off the can and put on my beer fridge because it's right next to the other one.
I got mine right here.
There it is. Hey. So this is East Coast IPA.
I got two beers up here. The one where he's got the sobering thought from New Zealand, the Lord of the Rings one, and the Garage Project. That's all I've got.
This is 7%. It starts off very well. The little blurb on the back. What do your elf eyes see? And then it says bugger all through this haze, which I thought was a very nice little take on it. Look, it pours a very, very light color. It looks a bit more lighter in front of me there. It's super citrus juicy. So they said they've used light lager malt, juicy jumbo oats, Strata, Simcoe, Ruaka, and Citra. And yeah, they all come through. I much preferred the other one.
Okay. I
say much preferred out of the two. Like they're very close, but I preferred the other one that we had. I thought that was a really, really good example of a Garage Project beer and the styles of beer they can produce. This one, I don't know if they've just used a bit too much Citra or if it's like the ratios they put it in, but it's like that Citra overpowering where it kind of becomes like a little bitey on top and then
a little too acidic.
Well, the citrus flavor kind of falls away halfway through, and then you're left with this kind of, there's that oaty mouthfeel at the same time at the back, but it's not to the same level of smoothness that the prequel was. So I'm not going to rate it as highly as that one. I have given it a 4.5. I think it's good. I think it's not the best example of the style the Garage Project can do, seeing as they are kind of, at least in our hemisphere, some of the like pioneers of the East Coast style. But it is still very, very good. I just think it could have been like the hops they could have used potentially could have been a bit more boundary pushing, interesting, however they used them, whatever, like something like that. It's just a little too much of that bitey Citra, oranginess coming through, and it's throwing out the balance of the beer a little bit. But yeah. Look, for 7%, it's going to get me through the rest of the night. So, yeah, it's otherwise enjoyable. Yeah. And the artwork, though, like 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's beautiful artwork. There is a golem in the background. I don't know if you guys could see that, but there is a nice little angry golem in the background between the elf and the dwarf. So, yeah. It's cool. Anyway,
cool.
That's me done.
I think that's us done.
That is us done. Well done, gentlemen.
Thank you very much for listening.
Yep. Till next time. No. Yeah,
what?
I might be back for the next one.
Okay. Just, if you could be fucked, I'll be here.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
We'll call him. We'll see if he answers, and then we'll know. Yep. But yes.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much. And
bye.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.